Good afternoon, I'm Rhys Wicks with 2NURFM Hunter News. The Hunter sporting community is mourning the death of Ken Clifford. The former Hunter Academy of Sport CEO has passed away after a long battle with cancer. He retired last year after 27 years in the role and was heavily involved in Newcastle cricket and basketball. Police and ambulance paramedics have been called to an industrial accident at Sandgate. The ambulance service says a man in his 40s fell from a ladder at an industrial premises on Rural Drive just after 11. Paramedics are still at the scene, treating the man who is understood to have suffered serious leg injuries. Police are appealing for witnesses after a 4-year-old girl was approached at Bar Beach on the weekend. The man approached the girl and her mother before committing a lewd act. He then approached other people with children and made contact. Senior Constable Angela Corbett from police headquarters says police would like to speak to anyone who witnessed the incident.
The man was described as being of Caucasian appearance, aged in his 40s or early 50s. He was wearing a white jumper, white shorts, dark joggers and a bright yellow and orange cap. Police are urging anyone with information in relation to these incidents to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Moves to change the way Newcastle Council's money is invested could be overturned next week, with plans for an urgent meeting lodged by the city's Liberal councillors. Councillor Brad Luke and Lisa Tierney lodged a rescission motion against Council's proposal to divest its $270 million investment portfolio away from banks or investment funds, which lend to the coal industry. Councillor Luke says the motion can be successful.
So I think there's a couple of things to take into account here. One, 2 councillors weren't there and those councillors would change the vote. And I note on the weekend the press reported that Tim Crackenthorpe would not rule out supporting a rescission motion. And I also note that the most senior Labor Member of Parliament in this area, Joel Fitzgibbon, has called for the council to do a rescission motion.
Hunter New England Health is warning the flu season is expected to peak this week. Records show children and teenagers with the highest levels of flu in 5 years, with 1 in 10 5 to 17-year-olds experiencing flu-like symptoms last month. Public health physician Dr. Craig Dalton says the strain of influenza B has hit the younger age brackets hard.
We've been particularly hard hit in the younger age groups, about the 5 to 18 or under 18 year age groups, mainly because of the influenza strain B that seems to be pretty prominent at the moment.
Hunter Development Corporation says the former Empire Hotel site in Newcastle West is back on the market. The re-emergence of the site comes almost 2 months after plans for affordable housing fell through because the parties could not agree on final contract terms for the development. Hunter Development Corporation General Manager Bob Hawes says he is determined to see action on the site as soon as possible.
I suspect that a lot of people would look at an interest of possibly activating the ground floor with retail or commercial, and then looking for at least a component of the upper floors being residential, because that seems to be the thing that's kicking the market along in Newcastle at the moment.
Sport for our sponsor, Warners Bay Sports Club, Fishing Expo, September 13.
The Newcastle Knights are preparing for a tough game this weekend when they take on the Panthers at Penrith. Facing their last game of the season, both teams need a win to avoid claiming the wooden spoon. Meanwhile, the candidates for the Knights' vacant coaching position are being narrowed down, with Premiership-winning South Sydney coach Michael Maguire being ruled out as a possibility. A number of Sydney Grade T20 Cup matches are set to be played in Newcastle this season. The Newcastle Steel squad will be facing their 3rd Sydney campaign, and for the first time, matches will be played in their hometown. Number 1 Sports Ground will host a double-header against Randwick Petersham and Illawarra in October. And in baseball, after securing the minor premiership over the weekend, Toronto will now be looking for victory when they take on Belmont in the major semi-finals this Sunday. That's sport. I'm Christine Sheridan.
2NURFM News Time is 12:10.